Hello, Seiiti Arata. The most practical tip for those of you who want to reduce the amount of hours that you spend on social networks is the following. You must modify your behavior, moving from passive use to active use. And for that, you must first admit to yourself that you are addicted to social networks. See if you can't go a whole day without checking, I don't know, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Facebook, Telegram, WhatsApp, or any other social network that is grabbing your attention. We have a problem here. If you're in doubt, you can take a look at your cell phone usage, the time report, and see how much time you're actually spending every single day in these networks. It doesn't really matter how you ended up addicted to social media. What you need now is to make the decision to overcome this addiction without having to completely give up social media. After all, social networks have their advantages. They allow you to make contact with friends, with family, to stay on top of what is happening, and also to promote your work and find business opportunities. But all these advantages will take the backseat if you become addicted. If you look at your cell phone until just a few minutes before you go to bed, and then as soon as you wake up, you already pick up your phone to be checking the replies, the likes of whatever you've been posting before you went to sleep. If you spend 1, 2, 3, or even more hours a day switching between one social network and another, always looking for something new, always afraid of missing something. There are several techniques and strategies out there for you to get rid of this addiction, but deep down they can all be summarized as follows. You need to take back the control of what the addiction is controlling today, which is your focus. In order for your focus to be controlled by you and not by social media, you need to adopt an active behavior. Social media addiction puts us in some kind of an autopilot without even knowing why. We just open the social network app as soon as we unlock the screen of our phone. At each break, we take a quick peek. If we are in a queue, we immediately open the application. If we go to the bathroom, we have to be waiting for somebody, or if even the traffic line goes red. Also, every time a notification pops up on the screen saying that someone has posted something or has mentioned you, we have this urgency to be checking immediately what has been posted, even if 99% of the time it is not really a big deal. When we are in this type of situation with no control over our actions, we may find that our focus is being controlled by our social media addiction. It is not us who are actively choosing when to open a social network and how much time we want to spend there. Often, we just take a look at the social network, and then when we realize it, we spent more than half an hour just scrolling through the feed, looking at photos and videos and funny memes and everything else that appears in front of us. The solution to overcoming this addiction, therefore, is to regain control of our focus and start having an active behavior on these social networks. A behavior in which you determine what, when, and how you use social media. To transition to this active behavior, you must use technology to your advantage. You don't have to rely solely on your willpower to get rid of your social media addiction. Your job is going to be much easier if you use technology to your advantage. The first step is to turn off all the social media notifications. Go to the settings of each of them and then turn off the option to notify you whenever someone posts something, likes something, or tags you in a post. If you are in message groups, you can also turn off those notifications. You might consider leaving only notifications from very specific people when they message you directly in some type of a messaging app, and everything else can be turned off. The second step is to automatically limit the time that you will spend in each of these social networks. All modern cell phones have already this feature. You just need to be changing the settings and choose the application and determine at how many minutes you can be using those apps, what is the maximum time per day, maybe even what time of the day you can do that. You are the one who will set these limits and times. There is no general rule. It could be that one person wants to spend, I don't know, maximum 30 minutes a day on social media, only during nighttime. Maybe somebody else wants to spend a maximum of 1 hour, but in the morning. You can see which times or what type of limits will work best for you. One tip is that you try to create a time to disconnect before going to sleep and also after waking up, especially if you're the type of a person who's always with the cell phone in your hand before going to bed, just a few minutes before sleeping. And if you wake up the first thing in the morning, take a look at your cell phone. If that's the case for you, try to free up at least 1 hour without social media before going to bed, and also at least 1 hour after waking up. And then you can take this time to practice your evening rituals, your morning rituals, including the activities that you don't have time to do today, such as reading a book, meditating, talking to family, or exercising. In the first few days, you might suffer from FOMO, the fear of missing out. But soon you will see that you're not really missing anything. If you want to reduce that feeling of missing something, you can try to hide the application icon from your phone home screen, put it inside of a folder, or consider to just use these social networks when you are in the desktop computer. The third and final step is to stop following the profiles and groups that are not really adding anything to your life. You know those profiles that we just follow to get angry? Just unfollow. It's going to be better for you. And there is more. When you get angry at some nonsense that this person wrote and then you want to reply to prove them wrong, you just fall into the engagement bait. There are people who write nonsense on social media on purpose because they know this attracts people commenting. This makes the algorithm give strength to that person, say, oh, there is a lot of engagement here. So silence is the best way to boycott. You can also mute or block profiles that appear on your timeline or even words that you don't want to follow. In more extreme cases, you can also use extensions or apps that help you to be hiding trending topics or explore suggestions and ads. You can also decide to go on a detox and completely stop using social media for a period that you define, which can be anywhere from a week or a month. Some networks even allow you to temporarily disable your account without you having to actually delete everything. This is kind of a shock treatment for you to break your addiction and then later return to it using it with intention, with responsibility. If you use social networks for work and you really need to go there to post things, you can just use applications that allow you to post content on your behalf without you having to actually log into the network. After all, whenever we enter, we may end up taking a peek at the feed and we might end up sucked into the endless amount of publications out there. Not all the technology in the world will end your addiction if you don't keep your mind on what you're doing. All the tips that we're looking at here really help you to overcome your social media addiction. It's a little bit like a cat and mouse game, You install something that helps you to reduce your addiction, but then something else comes along and will break your barriers. So instead of you just looking for these tools, it's better for you to actually understand your why, control your inner game, and then you develop better habits. No technology and external solution is going to by itself work for long if you're not aware of your inner game or what you're doing, why you're doing what you're doing. If you've become addicted to social networks, it is because they bring you some type of a benefit, something good. If you suddenly try to break away completely or even limit your access to this good thing in your life for too long, sooner or later you will end up giving up everything, releasing your limits, and then going back to using everything the way you used to do before. So before starting to implement all these tips, think carefully about why you're doing all of that. Think what you want to do to take advantage of social networks, and also have some time for yourself and focus and energy to do other things in your life, to be more productive, to cultivate your hobbies, and to pay attention to other important things in your life. And by the way, it is very good that you define with clarity beforehand what will you do with all the extra time that you're gaining by getting rid of the addiction to social networks. What are you going to do? Are you going to work harder? Are you going to study harder? Are you going to read more books? Are you going to do physical exercise, practice sports? Having all these options very clear is important so you don't feel bored with so much extra free time and then you have this temptation to go back to using a lot of social media again. And once you've defined your why and then you have activities to substitute, try using mindfulness techniques to see if you're really doing what you planned to do. See, it wasn't anybody else who was telling you you must cut down your social media usage. It was your choice. It was you who noticed this, and then you decided to change. So whenever you feel that you want to go back to use a lot of social media again, beyond your limits, just turn your attention to your why. If you use it with intention, with responsibility, social networks can bring many benefits to your relationships with other people and even for the promotion in your career, in your business. But this time, you have to use it with intention, with responsibility, and it will require active behavior with attention. So you have control of your focus and you don't let yourself to be controlled by addiction. To get rid of addiction to social networks, it is important to control what the social networks are doing today. They're controlling your focus. There are two ways to do this. They should be used together. The first way is using technology to help you fight technology, to limit your access, to control notifications, to unfollow people that don't add anything to your life. Now, the second game is an inner game. It's changing your attitude towards social networks. It's adopting a more active behavior to use these applications with intention, with responsibility, with a plan, understanding why you're there, why you're using that particular social network. And for those of you who want to go even further and have even more control over your focus, now I invite you to get to know the Focus course by Arata Academy. Then you can learn how to become a focused person by visiting the address arata.se/focus course.